Dawson there. Nice by foot.
To Laird. Crouch does get forward, but streaming through Brodie Smith and Chase Jones. One of those changes that you mentioned, Biggs at half-time, swapped over into the blue team and showed a cool head to find Taylor Walker again, who's looking for Pedler and some lax marking. Finds him in a similar spot, but for a young man trying to get his way into this side, that's good awareness from the former skipper.
Yeah, it is. And look, I reckon if that was round one, I reckon Taylor Walker goes back and kicks that. He's a beautiful kick from about 45, kicks through the ball. You mentioned Pedler's kicking from a similar position. He's a nice kick as well, but I still think I'd rather it in Taylor Walker's hands, but just trying to bring the young man into the game. Didn't let him down.
Kick's good. Yeah. And the crowd gets around him. I reckon that's easily, what are we talking, 2,500, 3,000 here, Bix?
Yeah, good crowd, beautiful
Great
conditions.
turnout.
Yeah, not much breeze to speak of, but what we saw there was, I think, a little bit more willingness to try and attack. So the kick by Dawson gets it to Laird. They're in the front half of the ground. Brodie Smith comes off his half-back flank, gets the ball at speed. Now, he doesn't actually execute the kick inside the forward 50, but because he receives the ball at speed, the opposition now have to really come off their man. And when they come off their man, it creates the overlap. It goes to Chase Jones. Chase Jones, with just a little bit of time, is then able to pinpoint Taylor Walker in a bit of space. So, you know, sometimes last year we saw Adelaide be a little bit stagnant, but clearly it's an instruction that we've got to get the ball moving quicker, got to get it inside our forward 50 moving quicker. So you've got some weapons now across halfback. Jones on a wing, you've got Smith, you've got Dawson, all those players are really good by foot and really good at delivering inside 50.
3 games for Pedler last year. There goes Schonberg coming up against Berry in that contest.
Second time in a row, Schonberg gets the ball on the move, and that's what he brings to Adelaide's midfield. I love that about him. Unfortunately, just not quite getting that ball where he wanted to get it. A little bit sort of right side conscious, not really great on the left foot. The other time, the one before, he got caught holding the ball, but I think that's something that he just has to continue to work on, keep trying to get that ball on the move. And as he gets more experience, he'll work out the times when he's got some time and space to be able to deliver that better.
Boundary umpire not entirely happy with the pill, but takes a good grab on the outer side. Maybe he could audition for a game.
Not sure what happened there. He was wiping the ball on the ground. Did it land in a puddle or something? I'm not sure.
So now we're back underway, and O'Brien, who's made that change up against Thilthorpe. The yellow team, predominantly the second team. Newchurch, he's always super exciting and someone that we get a little feedback on Twitter now and then, Bix, and people want to ask, where's Tariq Newchurch? And I think when you look at Adelaide's forward line, it's absolutely stacked now with some exceptional small forwards.
Yeah, look, and I think people enjoy or want him to get the opportunity because he's got that attribute which Adelaide lack a little bit of, and that's electrifying speed. We saw him at Sandford level, 3 and 4 bounces and really light the place up, and everyone's just hoping that he's able to sort of bring that ability to the AFL level. Haven't quite seen the consistency of performance to be able to warrant that selection just yet. Let's hope he finds that this year.
So a nice passage, Fogarty getting involved. Dawson, a rare right foot ball ace in a pretty good position, but attracts a bit of company now. On the ground is Michelini from the looks of things.
Yeah, good performance.
Dad Jim just sitting right in front of us there, Bix.
Yeah, what a great player he was.
Hall of Famer for Norwood.
Multiple premiership player, but Walker there got back, was able to just get that ball to ground and create that stoppage. And from stoppage, when you've got a couple of live wires like Rankin, that's all you need to do. And half a chance there from Rankin. Gets movement again through stoppage, and that's starting to become a bit of a theme. Some of those guys getting right on the move. That's for goal number 4, is it, for Isaac Rankin?
He's kicked a couple from the goal line, hasn't he? But that one, stoppage inside forward 50 deep, and he's been exceptional for fans to see him play like this too. And like to see him when the whips are cracking. And
this is the conundrum that Adelaide will find. Everyone's saying, let's get Rankin up and around the footy. But when you do that, there's sometimes a payoff, and the payoff is if he's up around the footy, he's not within 30 metres of goal. And if a player can impact the scoreboard like he's done today, why wouldn't you keep him there for the whole match? Would
you bother like little bursts in the midfield as such?
Yeah, I think you do. But you know, on a day like today, if he's got some dominance, and there's a reason why you keep him around goal because he can kick 5 or 6, and that's a match-winning performance. If he goes up around the footy and has 25 possessions and plays pretty well but doesn't kick any goals, you say, are we getting the best out of that? Because there's plenty of guys that can play midfield and get 25 possessions, but there's not many players that can go forward as an opportunist and kick 4 or 5 goals. So you're always sort of weighing that decision up. Riley Thilthorpe there just missed his teammate by foot.
But that's what you want from him, though, isn't it? He's run away from O'Brien. He gets in a bit of space, and that's where you'd like to see him use his skills and athleticism. Just a blemish on that occasion, but he's getting in good positions, getting his hand on the ball, and Rory Sloane drops back into the hole in front of Lockie Gallant to take a mark on the outer side. He's done a couple of nice things, and he'll be pleased with this, won't he? Nice kick through Brody Smith and Dawson combining and bursting off half-back is Jordan Butts. So I think for Rory Sloane to get through unscathed, blow out a few of the cobwebs and have a couple of nice moments for the former skipper, I think he'd be pleased.
The other thing we saw with Sloane is that ball's going to, just got a touch on it. We've seen a couple of times Adelaide take the ball at, an intercept mark at half back and then kick it down the line. Sloane took that intercept mark. He was never kicking that back down the line. His head was swiveled straight into the middle of the ground. He waited and waited until there was an option on. They swung the ball through to the middle. Dawson got on the end of it, got it to Butts. So all of a sudden they're attacking from the fat side of the ground, and it's a much better entry. So it's experience like that and players that have got the confidence to be able to pull the trigger on that kick through the middle that Adelaide need. So same thing here. Yellow team really need to get the ball to the open side of the ground. They've got an outnumber on this side, Ned McHenry. But unfortunately, just didn't have the confidence to pull the trigger there. Kicked it straight down the line. And now they're going to turn it over. Here's Newchurch. This is what people want to see. They want to see that run and carry. Nice release there.
Keys coming hard to Schonberg and running into an open goal. Jay Boyle, we've seen him do that in the Sandful throughout the year. Last year had a pretty good season. And now a chance for Worrell. Now, what would the blue team want to do here, Bix? How would you like to set things up in terms of your transition going from defensive 50, which, I mean, you see a lot of goals tend to be scored from the back half. Yeah,
they look like just trying to get it into the hands of someone like a Smith. If the opposition are going to give you Smith a 20-metre pass, he can grab it, run 5 or 10, and then kick it, without... They haven't shown any risk at all there, really, and they've got it to the wing. So, that's probably...
Pretty easy.
Yeah, that's a sort of low-risk play. What they're going to try and do is probably manufacture some more attacking plays perhaps later on, but I think that's what most teams are trying to do, get it in the hands of the good kickers, and if they can get it, at least into your own half of the footy, that's probably success from a kick-out, I reckon.
Now, the Crows scored a lot of goals last year from stoppage, and you see the transition side of the game, predominantly some of the better teams, they just tear you to pieces in transition. Do you think Rankin, do you think Dawson, just a rejig as Laird gets forward and his ball inside forward 50 finds Fogarty? Do you think that's an area of growth for the Crows?
Oh, for sure. As you get better ball users in your back half, we talked about Miller, and you got Miller, Smith, Dawson. You got good decision makers. If Sloane plays high half forward or wing, he's we know makes good decisions. So you'd expect that more balls end up on the body, and then you saw we've seen a lot of marks on the lead from Adelaide, which is good because if you get some good delivery, you got blokes like Walker and Fogarty who know how to lead and time their lead, and generally Fogarty from a set shot within 50 is a really high. He's a high percentage play for you. He's missed a couple today, so he'd be a little bit disappointed. But when you've got give the opposition or you give any team time and space and you've got good players leading, generally it's going to end up on someone's chest. And I think the delivery to the forwards has been pretty good today.
Nankervis to Parnell. This time wants to go to the far side.
Yeah. Oh,
Borlase loses it in the sun. The commentators, far from a commentator's delight, being 200 metres away on that outer side, and Rory Laird allows the ball to just trickle over the boundary line. There's
another indication, though. Someone like Parnell, who's a good kick, backs himself to be able to switch the play, and I think that's something that Adelaide have to do. I think they've really bolstered their kicking stocks over the last couple of years. So you've got Parnell in. Pedler now is fit. He's a really good kick. So the more Hinge comes in, as a recruit who's a really good kick. Rankin this year is a really good kick. We know Rochelle uses the ball really well. So I reckon a couple of years ago, they wouldn't have been all that happy with, their kicking ability, but now they've really built on that in the last couple of drafts. Sligo, another one who adds to that.
Well, there was an example there. Bix, great kick from Parnell. Unfortunately, the ball hit the deck. Still they go. Blaine O'Loughlin butted up again. The yellow team in a relatively strong position. Louis Sharrod, McHenry. He could have a crack from 45, but looks inboard to O'Brien, who's got 2 to beat. Berry front and centre at the crumb. Butts has a mate riding shotgun in Crouch.
Yeah, good work by Crouch as well. Looks in really good shape, and he's a midfielder, winning the ball in the back pocket. Let's see how they transition now. So Crouch still running. So he got the ball in the back pocket. He's right up alongside Rochelle now and Laser Shepherd. Probably get involved here. He does. In position supporting his teammate Rochelle, who took on the tackler. Yellow team have defended really well here. They've held him up. But the Blues are good enough to get out of it.
Crouch involved yet again. Walker usually exceptional by foot. This time Saligo goes with the one hand. Can't quite bring it to ground, and a good tackle on Mitch Hinge.
Yep, dispossessed him. So the umpire, the umpire said that's holding the ball. So once again, look at Fogarty, the lead. And that time there, it's Isaac Rankin again. So Max Michaelani just gave him a little bit of leg rope there, and he was protecting the goal side of Isaac Rankin, and then Rankin just pushed off, and in 2 or 3 short steps just created a metre separation, and Saligo a good kick. So probably, you know, part of the development for Max Michaelani will be just putting some body on, keeping Rankin off balance, demanding that your midfielders and wingers are down, you know, playing in front of the leading lane of Rankin, so that, you know, they just give you a little bit of cover, and that's some of the areas you can get some support from your teammates.
Pedler front and centre. Rochelle couldn't quite make the contact off balance, but I suppose Rankin would have thought he's a chance from everywhere on the ground. For Michaelani, if you're getting your opponent having a shot hard up against the boundary line, 45 metres out, it's not quite as much of a loss as you might think, even though you are standing the mark and watching the bloke have a shot.
Yeah, look, one of the things you sometimes as a young player, you know, you sometimes tune out and think he's not going to use my man. It's only a 15-metre pass, but what Adelaide have shown today, they're really willing to, you know, if they're 55 out or 60 out, they've used that sort of short lead and had a real willingness to use each other. So that's a bit more confidence in your ability to execute that kick as Taylor Walker fires for the ball comes to ground, and he's very clever. That one there just snapped around the corner. So Walker's once again showed his class. He's a multiple goal kicker as well.
Yeah, he's got 4 by a very loose count.
Yeah, so he's got 4. I reckon Rankin's got 4. Pedler's hit the scoreboard. Fogarty's probably the only one that's yet to cash in.
He's had a couple of shots, but yeah, hasn't made the most of what you'd traditionally expect from Darcy Fogarty. Hope you're enjoying the stream here from Richmond Oval. Theo Doropoulos and the thoughts of Premiership captain Mark Bickley. Bix, it's fantastic to hear your insight into the game as a coach, as a player, as an expert. Really are privileged to get someone who knows the game inside out to share what Adelaide's doing and what you're seeing here this afternoon.
Yeah, the interesting thing around Adelaide's midfield here as we look at, you know, Berry, who else is in there? You've got the ruckman in Himmelberg, Matt Crouch, Rory Laird. They've gone for a quite small dynamic sort of mix in there. Rankin's been in there, Rochelle was in there and then ran out again. So it's going to be interesting to see when you play some of those teams, you know, Carlton with Cripps, you know, the Western Bulldogs with Bontempelli. Do they back those sort of more nimble players who are going to try and get after the opposition? Or do they think, you know what, we need a bigger body to compete with those guys, and they have a look at someone like a Haitley or a Tyler Brown. So that's going to be interesting to see, you know, how Adelaide try and sort of combat some of those teams that have those big-bodied mids, you know, Petrarca and Oliver.
Yep.
Or do they say, you know what, we're going to back in our little guys to run those guys off their feet?
Yep. Well, not long till round 1, Bix. We're talking a month, and then GWS has to put up their best.
Yep.
Then you're looking at Richmond at home, round 3 showdown, Fremantle and Carlton. So
4 of the first 5 at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, and Adelaide will get a pretty stern test early on, and then a good understanding of where they're at compared to Richmond and a couple of teams looking to push into the finals, of which, of course, Adelaide take a big step forward. 2022, speaking to Adam Kelly, as Himmelberg. Can he gather ground level? Under pressure from Scholl, and Miller with a cool head finds Smith. Adam Kelly saying that 2022 was always going to be the hardest year, designed as the hardest year, where Rochelle was new. We got guys playing, in the earlier stages of their career now. Thilthorpe another year on. Rochelle's got a few games under his belt. So you'd like to start to see some of the fruits, which of course we're starting to see here, and it's great to know that 2023, Pedler fitter, a few guys fitter, Miller are back.
Yeah. Well, and they exposed a lot of those younger players as well. Just talking through the last couple of plays there, Rory Sloane gut running, 2 bounces. I think the fans would love seeing that. People say he hasn't got great pace, Rory, but I'll tell you what he has got. He's got an appetite to work really hard. And as you see now, players get tired, and you don't have to be quick, but if you're running at really good speed and you've got great endurance like Sloane, you can still work hard and get the ball in your hand. So that's really positive news. We're watching Elliot Himmelberg here. Just a little knock on Elliot. There was a quick transference of play where Haitley worked out that Rolly O'Brien was going to be one-on-one in the goal square. Himmelberg as the ruckman has got to work really hard to be back there and to be able to be that extra player for Adelaide as a ruckman to be able to impact that contest. In the end, Rolly O'Brien drops a mark, but it was still a one-on-one contest, and if Himmelberg's going to play on the ruck, that's what you've got to see. He's got to have that work rate to be able to understand if that ball's going in quick, that he's got to get there and impact that contest, as Adelaide have manufactured another set shot on goal.
So Sam Berry, Matt Crouch involved in that chain. Berry kicks from just inside 50 with a breeze probably in his face a little bit and sets it to the top of the square. And Rankin from the goal line in midair
volleyed it.
Puts another one through. Well, it doesn't matter how many hard goals, really, does it, Bix? You'd much rather kick the easy ones than the hard ones, and Isaac Rankin certainly got himself to the right spot today. He's been a star.
Well, if you polled, the 2,500 people that have turned up today, as they walk through the gate, you would have asked them, what do you want to see from tonight's match? I reckon a lot of them would have said, I want to see Isaac Rankin and show us what he can do and what he's capable of, or he's kicked 5 goals already and we're 2.5 quarters in. Yes, he's played on the number 1 team, but he's just shown he needs a couple of half chances and he can make you pay on the scoreboard. That one there got himself in the really good position again. He's already crumbed a couple of goals and kicked, I reckon, 3 of his goals from the goal square. But that's part of the art, though, isn't it? Getting yourself in the right position, understanding where the ball's going to be, and that's a massive fillip for Adelaide so far. The other thing I've been impressed with, Schomburg's gone to the yellow team, and the yellow team, most of those guys in the first half really struggled to make an impact, even though Schomburg is on the less dominant side as he finds the ball again.
Oh, well played.
He's probably been in this
traffic to pass.
In this third quarter, he's probably been the best midfielder on the ground, even though he's in that sort of less dominant team. So
there it goes again.
Really good sign for Harry Schomburg.
Scholl Newchurch runs into a blonde brick wall in Himmelberg, who stretches the arms out to say, where was the free kick? Here goes Crouch. Has Brown tracking him, and there's probably where you're talking about, Bix, is you'd like to see Crouch burst away and get that on the boot, but still no damage done, and in a bit of space is Thilthorpe waiting underneath and takes a good grab with some traffic coming his way in the way of Jack Madgen, who's on the ground for the first time.
Yeah, got the eyes darting again. This has been a real focus for Adelaide.
Tough side to kick a goal from out in the open.
Yeah, it looks like Adelaide are always trying to put their teammate into a better position. So, like his first thought there was, quickly before all the defenders get back, can I get one more possession in that gets me into the goal sort of lane, which is that sort of within a better than 45-degree angle type sort of shot from 30 to 40 metres out. We've seen them do that fairly regularly today, and that's why, because when you're having those shots from those wide out areas, it's a much lower percentage. You get them into the corridor within 35 to 40 metres, and most AFL players are able to kick that more times than they miss. So just looking to get them into the high percentage areas.
So around 2 minutes left in this third term, 25 minutes flat. Been playing here this afternoon. Jordan Bunce drops back into the hole, gets a good call from Will Hamill.
Just once again, just a little bit sloppy by foot, just has to tidy that up. But at least he looked inside, they got the switch of play, and that's exactly what Adelaide are looking to do. Get the ball out into space. They've been able to switch that. Rochelle wins it, plays on, and all of a sudden they go the length of the ground, and Darcy Fogarty gets on the end of it. Oh, Rankin.
Fly from Rankin. McAdam.
Yeah.
He's nearly done it again.
Who's that? One of the players down there, just stretching the calves. Might have a little touch of cramp.
Rankin again, just getting involved. Well, he's trying to take hangers. He's trying to snap goals. He's done everything this afternoon.
Oh, it wasn't a great kick by Newchurch. Tumbled, but nice take there, Jay Boyle.
Dawson attacks. A couple of cool heads combined. Sloan gets a 1-2 from Worrell and then runs into some trouble with McHenry.
She gave him an eternity of time.
He did have a bit of time. I think that's the veteran's grace. Nankervis runs away with a bit of speed from Walker under some pressure from Rankin. Himmelberg, Dawson, Laird, and the blue team are out once again. Fogg calling for it. This time McAdam flies but can't quite bring it to ground. Parnell finds a target across goal in Mark Keane.
Yeah, so Keane, I guess we get an opportunity to see what he's able to do today. Of course, he'd still be acclimatising, having played hurling for the last, the last time he turned out, he was over in Ireland. So there's a fair acclimatisation period. He'd been training for a week or two. As the yellow team, as we tick over into the last 10 seconds of this third quarter, they'll probably wind the clock down. So there you go, blue team again with a couple of personnel changes. Still the most dominant team on the park at the moment. We'll take a short break. Players get a chance to rest and recuperate, get a drink, and we'll be back very shortly. Okay, here we go. We've just back watching the Crows. We've just started again. We've just had a special guest arrive as looks like
Tariq
the yellow team
Newchurch.
we got on. We've got Ebony Marinoff join us. Eb, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Beautiful afternoon for some footy.
Yeah, it is indeed. Although the players mightn't agree with that because this looks pretty hot out there. As it might have been Tariq Newchurch got himself a goal, which is some nice work there. But tell us about how you're going at the moment. Where are you at? Is it? Well, I've lost track of when the girls are playing. Is it pre-season? Where are you at?
Nah, so we don't get into pre-season until about April. But no, I had ankle surgery just before Christmas. So I'm in the thick of rehab, nearly at the back end of that. So no, but it's exciting to, I guess, have the summer off. And
yeah. How did it go? The surgery all good?
Yeah, all good. Yep. Got a new ankle, a couple of screws, but yeah, no, I'll be all good and ready to go for pre-season.
And of course, the Sanford W kicks off very, very shortly. How many girls have we got from Adelaide playing in that competition this year?
Yeah, well, it actually starts tonight, but we've
exactly,
got about 11 girls.
The launch earlier this week, and 11 girls. So, and predominantly some of the younger players, perhaps, potentially?
Yeah, I think just the fact that they didn't play the whole season, you want to get games into them, and unfortunately with our season, it's only 10 to 12 games. So if they can get back and play some sample, it's always great.
Okay, well, let's cast our eye here, and we're just watching the blue team who have been pretty dominant all afternoon as Brodie Smith takes an intercept mark. Matt Crouch has been busy. I guess when you watch, what are you looking at? Do you quite specifically watch midfielders, or you just enjoy all of the game when you're watching this type of footy?
I think this is a little bit different, just given the situation that the blue and the yellow team in. But Isaac Rankin's put on a show for us tonight, so it's been nice to see him in the Crows colours finally, and I'm sure all the fans are going to get excited to see him this season. Yeah,
it's been good there as Rory Laird comes out of that play, gives the. Unfortunately, the handball went to ground, but there's a nice bit of delivery there, and I just wonder whether it's. Probably the player's sweaty, the ball gets a little bit sweaty, you'd know all about that, Ebony, and sometimes the ball can go to ground. Roy Sloane, been impressed with him. Oh, the umpire's caught holding the ball, he let him go a little bit earlier on.
God, Sloane's done well to get back. I think he's just hit the
10-month
mark. Yeah, spoke to him the other day, and he just ticked over the 10-month mark and ready and roaring to go, as you can imagine. He's been kicking himself to get back out.
Yeah, it's been great. And I guess pretty selfless as well. He decided that he's going to stand down as captain, and Mitch Hinge from deep in defence, beautiful kick, got back through the middle of the ground. Haitley was able to get the ball and get it on the outside. As Adelaide, the blue team there, were able to affect that spoil, working inside a phone box there, but they've taken it over the behind line, and they'll see if we can see anything as they bring the ball back in here from this kick in. So Brodie Smith is the man who's got it. We'll see what he does. Who else you been impressed with tonight, Ebony? You've watched the whole game,
yeah, yep, been up in the stands. I mean, Isaac Rankin's clearly a standout, but I've been really impressed with Jake Saligo. I think he's going to be an absolute player for this footy club, as well as Chase Jones. I think he's found himself on the wing a little bit more. He's probably played a half back and across the wing over the previous years, but he seems to have potentially locked down that spot.
There you go. Just might have been... Can't pick that player up. There's a Lockie Gallant potentially there. Gets received a nice little handball and put that through. Just Taylor Walker, a little bit disappointed. He came up, presented, took the mark, just wheeled around thinking that from the kick-in he might have had some free players behind him, but didn't like the options that were presented, wasn't able to find a player, and that turnover then went back the other way, and Adelaide were able to score a goal. So interested to see, Ebony. We've looked at the midfield mix and some of the players that have gone through there. We've also used a number of ruckmen for the blue side. So Riley O'Brien has gone off the blue side. He played in that team in the first half. And this second half, we've seen Adelaide trial both Elliot Himmelberg and now Riley Thilthorpe. So maybe a suggestion they're looking for, a little bit more versatility in that ruck position and a little bit, I guess, more involvement around the ground.
Yeah, I mean, you see Riley O'Brien at full forward for the yellow team. So a little bit different, but I think it just adds another string to, I guess, our system at the footy club, and you got to try things. Otherwise, there's stay stagnant and no change, and we need to start winning some games. Yeah,
look, I guess it takes a little bit of pressure off Riley Thilthorpe. You can be that big, tall forward, and you have a lot of attention in your front half. So when you get up in the ruck, we know he's got great aerobic capacity. He can get on his bike, he can run around and get some touches, as we See a holding the ball decision there. Looks like Sam Berry's in the yellow team now, and he's got up pretty quickly. Got that ball out to, looks like, is it Riley Clamp, who's one of the top-up players for Adelaide. Tell you what, the players having set shots from this part of the ground haven't had a lot of success. So he just saw Tim Silvers, who walked past and had a quick chat with us up here, and he's been out on the ground. He said the breeze is a little bit stronger than potentially what it feels like from up here in the grandstand. So we'll see what happens here as he puts it to within a couple of metres from goal. Whistle on play. He might have kicked that, not sure. There was Lockie Gallant, was it? Might have been a free kick. He's taken advantage.
Well, he's the lone goal scorer for the yellow team today with 3.
Okay, well, there you go. It's not a bad performance. Scoreboard not quite reflective of what's actually happened here today. Matthew Nix has sometimes created some scenarios. They've tried to, the yellow team, to play some slow play and defend the lead. The blue team have tried, they've set up a scenario where they were 10 points behind, tried to move the ball quickly and see if they could score quickly. So that's the beauty of this style of trial match. You can manipulate sort of how the game unfolds. How much work have you done sort of in the AFLW in terms of being able to understand the different sort of timings of play in games?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you talk about it's the scenarios. I think we saw early on, you know, Blue had, I guess, 5 minutes to win the game and they were down by 10 points. So I think you're just going to, I guess, win the game instead of save the game. Yep. So we do all sorts of different scenarios. But, yeah, I think the boys have another game against Fremantle, which is game scenarios as well, and then they'll have the full hit out against West Coast. So they've got a couple of games to, I guess, try new things. And like you said, players have switched teams and things like that throughout tonight. Yeah,
so just saw Elliot Himmelberg come back into the ruck. Got quite a good tap there. Got it down to Matt Crouch. He's won a free kick. Crouch goes short. Finds Wayne Miller. Probably haven't quite seen as much as him as we were hoping tonight. Matthew Nix gave him a huge rap during the week. But I think he's going to play across half-back, and someone with his poise and composure and ball use is going to be invaluable for Adelaide.
I mean, it's just great to see that he's, you know, come back from his injury and to be able to put 2 years of work into your body and I guess have it fail you. But, yeah, I don't think he's missed a session this pre-season, so that's a win. And, yeah, Crows fans love the way Junior goes about it, and hopefully we see a lot of him this year.
So we've got a boundary throw in on the other side, outer side, I should say. Looks like the yellow team, Strawn able to win that. Going forward again, Tom Duday, he's parked himself in front of Lockie Gallant this time, takes a timely mark. I reckon they'll be looking to see if they can get the ball off the line, switch play. Talked a little bit about Jordan Butts trying to be a bit more attacking with his play, sort of got off his man and tried to get a little bit higher up the ground. So just trying to add that to his game, I think, Ebony.
Yeah, and I think the beauty of, I guess, Nick Murray coming into the side and having a couple of years of development might actually allow Jordan Butts to not just be that main key man. And then Josh Worrell, who we saw play games last season, will hope to lock down his spot in the back line.
For sure, as we see the ball right in front of us here in the commentary position. Himmelberg there trying to farm it out to McAdam. Saligo again, he's really clean below his knees. Schomburg back on the blue side now, was able to get it out in front of McAdam. McAdam with a handball over his head. A little bit of Hollywood there. And the yellow team finally were able to turn the ball over. See, might have been in the back there. Yellow a little bit lucky or unlucky not to get a free kick. We'll see a stoppage by the look of this. So this will be a really good test for Elliot Himmelberg. Riley O'Brien has pushed up. He's now going to take the ruck for the yellow team. And Himmelberg is competing for the blue team. Let's have a look at him. Yellow team win the ball down. Haitley to Berry. Berry gets it moving forward. Riley Clamp again. Had a shot on goal before. He tries to get the ball moving. Not his best kick there. Jack Magden gets the ball up. Mitch Hins now. We know he's got a beautiful left foot. And that's what he brings to the table. That's a beautiful kick. Just the composure to wait for someone to present to him, and that player was extraordinary. Wouldn't be surprised if he might give it back to Mitch Hinge, but no, he's decided to have a shot. Has he got that in him, Ebony, do you think?
I think it'll be tight. But no, I think both Riley and Shawnee have been working on their goal kicking. As you've seen today, the team's being switched up Nixie's keen to see, you know, these big boys kick some goals and get forward. And
I know, look at that. Why did we doubt him? He's flushed that. And he's been a really good addition to the Adelaide Footy Club, one of the best and fairest for the Crows Sandful team. And you sense that if something were to happen to Riley O'Brien, and he had a run up at it or a number of games in a row, you think that Strawny would be able to hold down that position, but he's probably lacked the opportunity. But I tell you what, he's a very popular member of the team, and he's worked really hard on his craft, and he's improved enormously. But I guess just through lack of opportunity, he hasn't played more AFL games. So if he adds that to the mix, which is taking a mark and going back and be able to finish really well, it does sort of give him another string to his bow. So we'll watch that and see if he can continue to improve that part of his game. As we go back to the centre bounce, Schomburg, Laird and Rochelle in there for the blue team. And Riley Thilthorpe rucking as gets an opportunity to go up against Riley O'Brien. Nice bit of work there. Got the ball down. O'Brien to Zach Taylor, who's had some impressive moments this year. Just watching there. Ball bobbling around. No one really able to get it out. As Schomburg gets another touch. He's been impressive. Rochelle out to Hamill. Hamill gets it up forward, and a running jump. Looks like McAdam again, and just good ball use. How good is it that Luke Pedlar's finally been able to get his body right? He's had a really good pre-season. He's got some weapons with his speed and his beautiful left foot kick. Yep.
Nah, he's super exciting, and you know, he's been at the club for a couple of years now, and you feel sorry for a player with such talent that just you know, tries so hard and just can't get their body right, and it just lets them down. But yeah, we speak about Junior getting his body right. Now we've got someone like Luke Pedlar. We've got some talented players who are just finding their way at, I guess, AFL level. And the training demands is hard, and it's a lot. And sometimes it takes time for your body to adapt to the training loads and even the playing. You know, I remember speaking to Jake Saligo when he, you know, came into the AFL system, and he said the speed is like no other. It's uncomparable when you're talking about Sandful. So yeah, it's a lot different, and it's a lot harder on the body. Yep,
and he, had some serious injuries. Had a shoulder injury in his first year, and then some groin issues last year, and once again, the value of someone like a Darren Burgess, who you go out and watch training, almost every player on the training track at the moment, and now Pedlar's had a couple of years to get his body right. He's got some miles in his legs now, and just see the penetration on his kick. We saw it in the final series last year at Sandful level, what he was able to do, and it just adds another dimension. Around 6 foot, so he's a nice size. He can take a mark, and he's got that beautiful left foot. So just gives Adelaide some options there. Riley O'Brien got the hit out there and got the ball to ground. So Riley Thilthorpe now has to try something a little bit different. Doesn't look like he's going to out-jump Riley O'Brien. Just has to be a little bit more movement, which he did that time. Got his hand on that, got the ball down. And I think this is maybe what Adelaide are looking towards, is Thilthorpe gets his hand on it, is competitive in the ruck, but then when the ball hits the ground, they really want him to get busy. Ball goes down long for the yellow team. Brodie Smith gives a really good contest there. Gets it down, looks like Ben Keys. Keys gets it to Worrell. Worrell out in front of McAdam. Oh, nice little shimmy there. Gets himself free. There's the pace again from Pedlar. Was able to run and get himself in a really good position. Fortunately, ran himself into a bit of trouble, but just the work rate to get on the end of it just shows he's got some miles in the legs, and unfortunately Adelaide weren't quite able to maximise that chance. And looks like the yellow team are going to come away with it. That's Borlase, goes long. O'Brien and Thilthorpe dueling on the wing. Looks like might be Gallant again with his hand on it. Just the yellow team now, Ebony, just starting to possess the ball a little bit. This is good work from some of these young players, getting an opportunity to show what they can do. There you go. I think that's Tariq Newchurch again. Kicked the goal early in this last quarter. I think he's got a second one now. Had much to do with Tariq?
I think he's an extreme talent, and you know, he's probably finding his way. I think him and Shane McAdams spent a lot of time on the sidelines in pre-season just due to injuries. So if he can get his body right, I mean, he's got talent, and we've seen that at Sanford level. I think a lot of Crows fans last year were asking when he was going to debut. He had some really good form at Sanford, but it probably just comes down to consistency, and sometimes for younger players, and I guess that doesn't quite come for a couple of years, but yeah, he's got some talent, and he excites Crows fans, and hopefully we see him debut one day.
Yeah, it's also about that competitive nature, isn't it? It's a really tough position to play as that small forward. We know he's got great speed and is able to finish really well. You've also got to get out the opposition and create, you know, pressure so that you can, you know, help turn the ball over. And I think that's, you know, what they're looking for. That consistency. It's consistency of effort and pressure and all those things in his game. So, yeah, hopefully he gets some confidence out of what he's been able to do in this last quarter, bringing a couple of goals to the table. There's Thilthorpe getting involved. Nice handball to Saligo. Saligo gets the ball on his boot. Yeah, there we go. Himmelberg trying to compete there. Looks like Tyler Brown, I think, is playing in defence on Himmelberg, is it? No. No, it might have been Luke Nankervis. Thought it was 21. It was actually 27. So there we go. Yellow team again, winning the ball, getting it coming out. Dawson didn't get a favourable bounce, but he still wins the ball back. He's under a bit of pressure here. 2 fend-offs. He's just able to maintain possession and create a stoppage.
Dawson's looking strong. I think he's spent a bit more time in the gym in this off-season. Super exciting.
Yeah, excited about the appointment?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Dawes walked into the 4 walls, I knew he was going to be a good man and an even better player. Probably shouldn't say that because he's a bloody good bloke, but I think we got a really good one in that one. And yeah, all the boys seem to tell me he's the man. They call him Dawes the Horse for a reason, so now he leads the team.
Yeah, look, what I've been impressed with is his calmness. He never looks flustered, and you know, like sometimes that step up to into that leadership role, you know, there is a little bit of anxiety that comes with it, but I just think he's going to be able to handle that. He looks like a really calm, mature player, and so far today he's made really good decisions, positioned himself really well. So, yeah, I think it's a really good start to his leadership career. As you said, look at Elliot Himmelberg just pleading his case to the umpire. I thought he might have got a free kick there, but none forthcoming. So we continue to see Riley Thilthorpe in the ruck, Elliot Himmelberg up forward. So Thilthorpe versus Strawn. Saligo on ball for the blue team, along with Laird and Rochelle. Matt Crouch as well. So they've got a whole heap of ball winners there. That's what I'm sure Adelaide would want to see once the ball hits the ground. Thilthorpe getting involved in that handball chain, but the blue team done really well. Hayden Kernahan there able to win it. Another top-up player for Adelaide, get it going the yellow team's way. Strawn found himself on the end of it. He kicked one from a very similar position. That one there partially smothered. So this last quarter, I guess, you know, the players get a bit tired. The yellow team been really competitive, Ebony. Yeah,
it's definitely spent a lot more time in their forward half, and yeah, that could be due to, I guess, a few changes here and there, but well, maybe half the team's top up. So they've strung 3 quarters together, and they're starting to find their feet and know where players are, and even calling their names. Yeah,
Riley O'Brien there. Wins the ball on the ground. Can't keep it in the field of play, so he's kicked that out of bounds on the full. Jackson Hately starting to get his hand on the ball a little bit in this second half as well. So he's one of these players who is an accumulator of the footy, and as the game sort of a little bit of the pace goes out of it, he's certainly one who accumulates possession. So he's got a big year this year trying to sort of work his way into that Adelaide midfield as Riley O'Brien aerially shows what he can do. I'd be really keen if I was at Adelaide to see if I could get a handball receive off Riley as opposed to having him kick it inside the forward 50. Nankervis got around the back, called for it, didn't get it. Ball goes into that sort of dangerous area 15 metres out from goal. A lot of players wanting the whistle to blow for a ball up. Talk to us here, Ebony. You're an on-baller. What are we trying to do? We've got a stoppage? No, the umpire's called holding the ball. I was thinking you were going to give us a little bit of a lecture on how to win a stoppage close to goal and snap one, but it's gone to the blue team. Dawson goes short. Looks like Hamill there. Hamill goes short again. Finds Matt Crouch. One thing we know about Matt Crouch is he's going to accumulate the footy. He's gone predominantly short most times he's won the ball, but they've been able to maintain possession. Crouch to Millerer to Rochelle. Don't mind this if you're able to get it into your front half without risking the ball too much. Unfortunately, Himmelberg wasn't able to mark it. And the yellow team attack again. Looks like it's Haitley winning the ball. Berry now almost on the end of that one. Really well sport. Might have been by Crouch. Probably be looking to hold this up. Create a stoppage. Nut back to Miller. Operating in a phone booth there. Gets it back to Crouch. He gets it on his boot. And there's a mark to the yellow team. Can't quite pick up who that is. Bring it back into the middle of the ground. Siegel there, one of the top-up players, trying to win the footy. Gets it onto Hinge on his left foot. That's what he can do by foot. And it's another mark to Tariq Newchurch. And he's had a real purple patch in this last quarter. He's going to be lining up for his third goal. But I think it's Hinge there. Just a little bit of class, isn't it, with the finish. Only had 1 or 2 steps to get on his boot, but he kicked it beautifully.
He's got absolute poise, Mitch Hinge. And, yeah, I don't think Blue have been able to get it into their forward half, so good signs for the yellow team. I mean, the boys look absolutely spent out there. It's been a hot afternoon as well as longer quarters in this match simulation.
And just tug that to the left. I think that's a really good sign for Adelaide. When you look at the players that are most likely going to line up across half-back and wing, it's Hinge, it's Dawson, you've got Smith, Parnell, really good player by foot. You've also got a nice spread of size. You know, Mitch Hinge is 191 centimetres, Brodie Smith's 191, Jordan Dawson's over 190. So all of a sudden you've got these players that are really good by foot, but also can play tall and small. Max Michaelini is another hybrid defender. Even Hamill is, I think he's about 187. So, you know, all got a little bit of size and that ability to play on, you know, if a interchange is made and a taller player comes on, they don't have to throw the side around too much. Rory Sloane, we talked about him. He's accumulating a bit of footy. Wants to get the ball off the line. Instead, looks to down the line. Ball lays there. Came off his man. Affected a really nice spoil. Got the ball over the boundary line. So have a look again at the ruck setup. Riley Thilthorpe taking on Kieran Strawn. Keys on ball now. Matt Crouch. Ned McHenry's pushed up. We've got Riley. Oh, no, sorry. Josh Rochelle. Wins the ball to Laird. Laird back to Crouch. Crouch uses his legs, gets moving. Gets the handball out to Ben Keys, who kicks it long. And you mentioned this last quarter. They probably haven't gone forward with the precision that they did in the first quarter. A lot of sort of long kicks to contest. And the yellow team have defended pretty well and been able to wrap that up. And I guess if you're a midfielder, Ebony, like you are, it's so important to get pressure on the ball carrier so that they don't use any precision going inside forward 50.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've found that the yellow defenders have actually pushed up a little bit more and not given the Blues as much freedom. And you can certainly see that.
It's again forcing him back to back pedal. Chain of handballs. Gets it on the Keys on his left foot. Oh, really well done there. It looked like McAdam, who wins the ball back to Mick Henry, and that's, for me, watching today, it's been a noticeable thing that Adelaide have done. The minute they've taken a mark inside forward 50, got back quickly as Mick Henry kicks the ball around the body. Yep, he's pretty happy with that. So they've just tried to get back quickly off the mark before the opposition defence has got set and tried to put someone in a really better position.
Yeah, absolutely, and I like that you've said that, because I've realised that, and they're actually, you know, trying to find themselves a little bit closer to goals.
Yeah.
And still, obviously, I think Isaac Rankin kicked about a couple from party tricks, but just being able to execute, you know, a little bit closer to goal and making sure it's the 6 points and not the one.
And taking the shots from higher percentage areas. So you look at the scoreboard, I know it's been manipulated a little bit for the yellow team, but the blue team have kicked 17 goals, 8, and people will say that's great goal kicking. But as you said, Rankin's kicked 3 from the goal square. There's been a couple of others where they've been able to find someone, you know, 15 or 20 metres out directly in front. So it's really about creating high percentage shots, and what you'll find is that's when you have good goal kicking. When you're forced to kick a lot from the boundary line or snaps under pressure, that's when, you know, your goal kicking percentage gets around that 50%, and people start to complain about why teams aren't better at goal kicking. But it's really about the percentage of shots that you're generating. As we see Taylor Walker pushing up the ground, wins the ball, gets it back to Sloane. Schomburg again, he's been impressive tonight. I like that poise too, to be able to get the ball back into the middle of the ground. And now they're attacking on the open side of the ground. Would have liked that kick to hit from Wayne Miller. as the siren blows. Just give us a little summary, Emily. You've watched the whole game. Give us 2 or 3 players you were impressed with tonight and what you liked.
Oh, I can't go past Isaac Rankin. I think it's just exciting to see Crows fans finally seeing Habord, what he's going to be able to do. I was super impressive. I know we spoke about him and he's now the captain, but Jordan Dawson's work across the halfback was super impressive. He's looking strong and he really wants to take that leadership to a whole new level, and I think that's going to be awesome for the footy club. Oh God, I could rattle them off, but that's probably my 2.
Yeah, I really liked Harry Schomburg as well. We're going to sign off now, so we really say thank you for tuning in, and of course don't forget we've got a couple of trial games coming up, both against Freo and West Coast over the next fortnight, so keep an eye on that. You'll be able to check that out and hopefully continue to watch the development of this team. Thanks for joining us on the live stream tonight, and we'll catch you again at another time.